Welcome back to Saga of Three Kings. This is session number 92, entitled Capital City. Last session, the group didn't know what they wanted to do and decided to go to the capital city. That's why this session is called Capital City. Then they went to the Great Church and they met with the new Hierophant of the Great Church, Hierophant Hallis, the replacement of the former Hierophant known as Calareth. Conversations were had with Hallis, specifically regarding current events in the Ludus region. And also, Galagos was seen to have been placed in a stasis field, which is an ancient, powerful magical item that is capable of locking an individual temporally. They are rare, but they're also sanctioned only by worthy parties, and the church in the nation of Osiria deems who is worthy of having a stasis field. According to House, there are a couple that are present inside the church, and the one that's being used to maintain Galagos is the Hierophant specifically. The Hierophant also mentioned that a number of his agents have been sent out, one to the city of Nock, another to the city of Liberus, and another to the city of Talanya in the province of Varhuin, to find possible remedies for the poison that Galagos has been afflicted with. Of course, finding the poisoner and understanding the specific nature of the poison would be preferred, but according to the Hierophant, may not prove absolutely necessary. Okay, we left off in the Great Church. Hierophant has broken away from you as a group and kind of left you to the apartments that he has granted you for your time here in the capital. You pretty much have free reign throughout the city. You can use any number of methods to travel. Skyrail, there are trolley systems. There's a very, as we mentioned, popularized kind of boating structure with a number of different kind of gondolas and the like that move throughout the water for not terribly much currency. But yeah, what would you like to do? This would be the half of, basically it's the latter half of the day that you arrived. So we're looking at somewhere around mid-afternoon, mid to early afternoon. Yeah, the day is yours.
Well, what do we want to accomplish? Because our loose ends are starting to pile up. We've got a guy in stasis who we meant to save from poison. We might still be able to get the sample of the poison for them to cure that. We've got that ghost dragon sitting under my sister's house.
The Leviathan near my house.
Sure. There's. I swear to God, if we go to Banter again,
We've been gone
I'm gonna
for
turn it down.
all of 30 minutes. We need to
There's
see
got
my
to be a
dad.
B team around here somewhere that can handle a Leviathan.
And we could have, I assume, but you weren't here, and I didn't feel like risking it.
Yeah, it's fine. I don't know if Leviathans and dragons are equal on like power scale.
Considering the two representatives of them, yeah, I don't think that the Leviathan is equal to Nonifondus, no.
Not even him, even like Smooth Brain.
That guy
I don't know,
sucks.
that's a low bar.
I hate
I
that
know,
guy.
but like dragons can fly and breathe, though.
Lame.
Leviathans die out of water.
If you have nature trained, you would know that the Leviathan is much stronger than most of the examples of dragon kind you've seen so far.
Uh-oh.
And he's chaos, he's like a water element.
It is a primordial elemental of water.
He's chaos.
Then like banish it to a desert somewhere.
Go nuts and try that.
I can't. I don't have spells. I'm a rogue.
Anyway,
Yeah, you do. You're a cleric.
What?
No, no, man.
Got rogue spells.
Phantom knife. Ah!
My
I'd
rogue
still-
spell is smaller.
I'd still like to get into the Doom Vault if we're willing to try that again. And if
I'm not against. Did they specifically say that they have to have a sample of the poison to save him?
as far as we can tell, that's the only bet they have.
So far to say it's the only confirmed guaranteed way of doing it, but they said that they have sent these envoys out from the church to try and find possible other avenues. Those avenues have not been confirmed, but the Hierophant felt confident in them enough to send his agents to acquire the possible means.
And so far, the stasis is like an indefinite.
Yes, correct.
Like, we're no longer quite on a timetable.
There's no timetable.
And they got monorails and stuff, but can't like synthesize a cure from his blood.
So, Skyrail is a system that is constructed through magical means. Basically, it is an operative system that runs on a steam elemental that powers the wheels on top, and the steel on top is formed through magical shaping. So it is not a scientific affair. It is very much a artifice of magic created by the goblins of the Shattered Coast, which were created by Steve V, who you may be familiar with.
I guess they should have brought some hematologists with their engineers.
They don't have hematologists because that would be a science. It would be hematomacro, whatever the mancy would be. Hemomancy, bloodmancy. These are magicians that are creating
bloodbenders.
These are creating artifice from magic. They're not creating artifice from science, sir. It's not Tesla. It's trying to think of a good artificer from it's like a Kaladeshian, like someone from Kaladesh.
Yeah, they had microscopes in Kaladesh.
Sure, we have microscopes here.
Doesn't mean
Well,
they
start looking at the blood.
We don't need to know anything about
bioengineering.
blood. Show me the
Find
card.
the bad thing.
Show me the Magic the Gathering card that says they can cure cancer, you son of a bitch. It's honestly,
Cancel.
it's called Greater Restoration, or
Cancel.
yeah, cancel. Cancer is not a
Anyway.
spell.
We've had a week to think on it. There's also Hierophant asked us a favor to confirm whether or not this guy is truthfully a rightful heir to the Azure throne.
How are you supposed to prove that?
He just needs a sample of him. A lock of hair.
This
a
is
bit
really
of blood.
funny. This is really funny after what he did.
After what?
So we just need a sample from him, a bit of blood, a piece of hair.
A DNA sample, yeah.
Son of a bitch.
So maybe they do have blood typing and all of the biochemistry that would be required to cure this.
There's magic in a king's blood, obviously. God, you guys.
See, no, they're just gonna take that piece and like resurrect a zombie version of him, and then boom, there you go.
Fair, I guess that's possible too.
I've done that with Galagos.
Where is the guy that's claiming this?
He gave me a couple pointers as to where we could find him.
He's not willing to just come in here and give the sample himself?
I don't know that he's known to be doubted as an heir. I think they're trying to avoid any kind of flare-up by accusation.
Don't make public accusations. That seems exactly what a government's set up to do. Verify details and keep a census.
Listen, I hate the government as much as you do. They're bloated. They get shit fucked up all the time.
Especially when you keep a church involved.
100%.
This does not sound like an errand I want to run.
I'm trying to pump the brakes on this whole system, but they've still asked us to do this.
I'm trying to tear it apart from the inside.
Well, you're here. You're in the inside now. You have been administered via syringe into the very heart of the thing you seek to destroy. Do your worst.
We have very different views on anti-government, I'll tell you. And I respect that.
This might not be a snowball we want to push down the hill yet.
We still have a shadow dragon to kill.
We got a lot of shit going on.
And apparently a Leviathan that's plaguing fucking Brooklyn's parents.
Tell your parents to just move.
His parents are fine. His dad had a cold.
Why would they fucking move? There's a train running through their town now, asshole. They're living
It's
the
a
life of...
shithole with a Leviathan, and people stapled the walls.
Give them a couple more months or a year, they'll have working plumbing, it'll be sick.
I don't know if I have a couple months.
You can just buy them a house in Bluegate.
Buy them a house. Here's my house that I've given to 3 other people.
No, that's still my house. I need that.
No, you've given it to the farmers. You've given it to the noble in Bellum. You've literally just said, whoever wants to live, you can fucking live there.
No, he said he was going to pass through and look at it. I gave him the option to stay,
I know.
and potentially trade properties, but that fell apart.
I am, of course, doing a bit. I apologize
The
for
farmer is
derailing
the
you.
groundskeeper.
Correct.
He takes care of the house.
He
His
does.
daughters take care of
He does live there, though. We can agree on that.
Yeah. it. Absolutely. He doesn't own it, though.
Right.
Just lives rent-free.
Sorry for derailing. Continue your conversation about destroying the government of
Some super nice guy that helps people.
Anyway, does
When I choose
anybody
to.
have anything they want to put at the top of the list? Should we try for the air proving
I don't
first, or
really
should we
give a
put that on the
shit about
side?
that guy, and I don't give a shit about Leviathans. Doom Vault's a lot of fun, and Mount Fondas is probably a priority, but I still don't know that we're ready for that.
I think we're ready for that elf. Just my opinion.
That
The
sounds
elf.
like a Doom Vault vote.
Is the Doom Vault, yeah, so.
Anything out of Grok?
I mean, I guess the Doom Vault seems like a way to go. I just want to make sure that I have plane shift available in case we get screwed like last time.
Fair.
It's a pretty nice spell.
Yeah.
Thanks for having it.
But I think
No
the
worries.
key to not repeating last time is to maintain a pace, not try to hole up too much, and really just savor those spells for when we really need them.
Brooklyn,
murder
what's
anything
happening with
that
that lantern
slithers.
again? Remind me of what's up with the lantern. Do you have that lantern?
No,
He
it's in
does not.
Shambles' bag of holding now.
Okay, good. I would say cover that shit up.
He has lost permissions to the lantern.
Benson also.
If you need me
So,
to, I can
Benson
hold
has
it.
also been
No,
denied.
so don't
The
no
lantern.
Benson.
Fucking joking.
I'm carrying a
See,
demon in
I
the
got
jar.
Evil.
See, the way
because
this
no one
I'm
works,
else
good at
can
it.
be trusted.
I have experience.
the way it works is when they start talking about the lantern, like those 3 are like, yeah, it's right here, and then me and Benson just sit in the back like, I want to play with the lantern.
However, that lantern might be the only way we get into the Doom Vault now. It's something we gotta consider. Because
Yeah,
we showed
because
our
somebody
hands a little
looks into a
early.
mirror. Somebody.
And
We're
under
not putting-
the understanding that our keys just flat out don't work anymore. Like
Correct.
the locks got changed.
Not for that door.
That's right.
Oh yeah, sure.
Are you super good at picking magical locks? No?
No, that would be a Benson thing.
Okay.
But since it's not an actual doorway, I don't think knock works.
No, we went over that last time.
So Doom Vault?
I can-
So good.
I can also. Do you want me to set plane shift on me as well, just so we have a second hand if we need it?
We should only need the one to
Okay.
keep him alive and you be ready to kill things.
Okay.
If we see that Naga again, it's dying.
I hope he's trapped in the falling part.
Me too.
Keep that wand away today,
That's what
Raya.
snitches get.
No,
John
no
Fox.
wands today.
Snitches get eternity in the hole.
Falling.
Oh, how long's it been? Since we
Not
left the
even.
Doom
Day.
Vault?
Yeah, about a day. They slept in Bannister and then they teleported here. So it was the rest of the day that you remember, and then a day past that.
Well, were you gonna do the teleport or the travel by plant to get back to the Doom Vault? Or are we booking it?
The wand is fully charged.
The rod, you mean? Or one to wonder, yeah.
For you, bud.
Wand of wackiness.
Exciting.
Yay!
Is Hollis somewhere that I could find him
Yeah.
reasonably easily.
Easily enough. You would actually find him in after speaking to one of the attendants, you would find him in conference with a couple of individuals, but the attendant basically leads you in there despite the fact that he's talking to these people. When you look at them, they appear to be merchants, and you're pretty keen-eared, so as you're kind of walking in on the conversation, you do hear the name Galagos uttered from one of the merchants that he's speaking to. The Hierophant then kind of raises his hand. Lords, of course, we will continue our conversation tomorrow. I'm sure you have a lot that you must be doing, especially since you must prepare yourselves and your homes to receive a possible king therein. Have a good evening. Turns and looks back to you and says, so have you made a decision?
I'm afraid if you need a decision at this time, my answer would be no.
Of course, I do not need one at any point or time. It is your will and your decision to make. I simply inquire because, to be honest, I have read a little bit about your work, and I do not believe that I have a hero of such renown in my current staff as it stands. And
Well, maybe you don't need me on your staff. I of the opinion I might do the most good separate from the church. You have to understand your predecessor tarnished your station rather considerably. You get that, right?
I do understand that. My desire to have you renew your role within the church wasn't so much because of your ability. I was hoping to flatter you. I will come forward and clean that statement. My true goal was to hopefully renew your passion for the faith, the church, and our ends, since it was tarnished by such an evildoer. But I understand. I do also understand if the actions and activities that would be going on here in the city do not trouble you, as it does seem a lot of your intent and focus has been in the Mudis region.
Well, it looks like our reach has expanded pretty substantially in the last few months. Certainly no hard feelings on my part, and please do keep trying to improve the image of the church. I believe deep down you do good work.
Well, I had a feeling that you would come to this decision, and I have a feeling too, correct me if I'm wrong, but you plan on leaving the city very shortly after learning that Galagos is not an immediate problem.
Well, to tell you the truth, we're most likely leaving the city in an effort to chase after the Galagos problem.
So be it. If you do find the blade or the poisoner who dealt this blow to the merchant lord, then I would greatly appreciate it to be brought back to us so that we can learn of its design, its formation, and if we can, a cure for it. If you do plan to leave, I do have something I was hoping to give you that you would be able to take with you as a beacon of your renewed station within the church. But I feel like withholding the gift would prove more ill of the church than to give it to you proper.
Well, it's your gift to give.
He reaches into a pouch.
And just because I am not of the church's employ doesn't mean I can't be your ally.
Reaches into a pouch, and as you're talking, kind of pulls out two platinum gloves, gauntlets, and hands those over to you.
Were these mine?
They were not. They were something you wished to attain. Calareth was not very willing to lend out relics of the church. I have been much more open-handed in my methods.
What can you tell me about these?
These are the very first of the pugilist's weaponry.
They're propugnators.
They were the very first Pugnator's weapons. Regarding what they do, I am not terribly familiar with all of the details, but I do know that they are regarded in the histories and the lore as the Quicksilver Gauntlets.
Out of character. Can you explain what that means?
You don't know what they do magically, and he doesn't know what they do magically. They're
Okay.
basically a relic that he has inside of a church. They could be absolutely useless. They look nice,
Sure.
but they.
But it's something we've been needing lately. You know how I make spoons and stuff. Now you have gauntlets that do it.
Well, he has.
I just bought gauntlets.
Yeah, he has the gauntlets that he can dab and make them into.
Oh
other
yeah.
weapons.
Well, this is an honor. I'll make sure, regardless of what my ultimate decision is, these remain with the church. That seems only right.
Of course. When you feel a time is necessary for you to either join the church once again, that these gauntlets are no longer of service to you, or when you personally retire to live your life in comfort outside of the normal pugilistic ways that you've engaged in your life and your new life, then you can bring them back to me or to my replacement and return them to the reliquaries.
Very good. I genuinely thank you. But once more, if I am to help you with the Galagos situation, if there is anything you can tell me about this renegade elf, I would be very grateful, and it could very well save the man's life.
Make a persuasion roll.
Persuasion, I don't do those. 21.
Nice.
You see him kind of look down. One moment. Kind of runs his hand across his chin, looks to the door. You see him very quickly kind of perform a prayer. Looks to the wall, like nearby, which doesn't look terribly interesting, and performs another prayer there. You see these kind of fields appear around the door in that point on the wall, and they seem to just kind of be like these null spaces. You see him kind of look to you. That should block out any sound of our conversation from traveling to ears that aren't deemed worthy of hearing it.
I'll just stand by and let him do his magic.
The
I'm a little more defensive.
individual that you seek, this mysterious Elvish Mage, he is a servant of a very powerful, great old one, being from beyond the stars that was drawn to this place by a very powerful magic. According to the lore masters, they have been able to determine that this magic came from somewhere to the east. Very potent drawing magic that pulled this entity out of this night sky. According to the lore masters, all we can refer to it as is the one that watches. A very potent, powerful, aberrant being.
And you think this one that watches wants to interfere?
According to the lore masters, no. It is not a maleficent creature. It is not benign either. It seems to have goals that are, I won't say benevolent, but for lack of a better term, I would say that they are beneficial to mortality as it's known and understood by the church and by lay folk.
And should we put an end to this renegade that serves him?
The renegade does not serve him. The renegade steals his magic from him. It is the belief of the church, and it's also a shared belief of the lore masters, that this renegade mage was a former practitioner of very powerful magical arts in the city of Talanya. It is why I sent one of my envoys there, to see if his records could be tracked. This Elvish Mage is more of a witch or warlock. It has bound itself to this being, but it no longer serves it. He instead draws his power from it, and it is no longer willing to grant its power to him. From what we understand, he and two other entities are currently at war. The war has spilled out into the material plane through their servants. This renegade seems to be trying to stir up the conflict so that it is further brought out into the light, into a more destructive process. The Watcher is one entity that we are aware of. Another is a creature known as the Lady of the Deep, a very powerful great old one that actually has its physical presence here in the material plane. On last tracking, I saw that it had exited this plane in what is known as a wind gate, a space between spaces, again off to the east.
And that is how the Watcher left the plane?
The Watcher lives outside of the plane. It has not entered the plane as of yet.
Forgive me, I'm misunderstanding. The wind gate, who traveled by it?
The Lady of the
The
Deep.
lady.
Okay, thank you.
And the last of them has so far as to say become unseeable. But I feel that there are aspects of its desires that creep out into the efforts of not only what you are engaged in, but also what happens here in the city. Many of the merchant lords have expressed a desire to serve this one king who's risen up from Munia. I believe he is who he says he is. The reason why I sought confirmation, this verification is of utmost importance. If it is true that he has the blood of ancient Grizel, then it could be that his blood is laden with magic, and he himself could be a very powerful dilemma.
And he is set to be here in the city.
Oh, is he here? Is Riot here? I thought it was just.
Oh, did anybody follow me?
I thought it was just
all were
best.
with them.
Oh,
I
I thought we
thought-
were all in
You
here.
were
I thought
all
it-
rolling.
Oh, sorry. This would not have happened if there was.
I thought I went alone.
Sorry.
Okay, then yeah,
Same.
you're good.
Sorry.
Sorry.
This conversation would not be happening if there was anyone else. Sorry.
Continue.
No,
If-
I'm alone.
If he went alone, that's fine. I would say I was trying to find magistrate or something.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay, we'll do one by one. Sorry.
That way we don't have to worry about messing up what's already happened. Just
Sorry.
We'll roll with it.
Sorry if the capital slowly becomes the Zach show, but I'm sorry.
No, we got
Alright.
like 2 minutes left of Zach show. We're good.
Yeah, well, no, that's pretty much it. Like, I mean, he just says that this Gretel individual appears to be, if he is who he says he is, that he will have powerful magic in his blood, because the original Gretel, the king of the Azerite throne, was known as the Lord of Ribbons or the Lord of Scarves, and is an entity that's known throughout history as a very potent magical being, not human, beyond human, said to have been god-blooded. But again, histories lie sometimes. Much about what is known about Gretel is not exactly confirmed. Some of it's rumors. There are rumors that he was one of the warriors who fought in the war between Seriu and Osiria, and also the second war between Seriu and Osiria. There are rumors that he was a gang leader in a city called Rostagar in Parnak. There are rumors that he had great bouts with not only with powerful entities throughout history, including the Chronomancer Cardiff, including the Great Shame of House Albacoris in Osiria. All of these are just rumors, but some of them, have aspects of truth or are aligned with historical events. There's just no confirmation that this Grezel individual was part of it.
I know this is a while back, but out of character, didn't that old man on the train, whenever my symbol originally switched, have like a vision type thing where he said the three kings were back?
Yeah.
Okay, I thought so, and I thought I remembered him saying that, but I wanted to double check.
Mm-hmm.
Quick
Good
reminder,
memory.
Zach, when we were scouting the Doom Vault at the very beginning, you saw the physical manifestation of the Watcher.
Oh
The
yeah, that's
information
right.
You could pass on and get new information.
Yeah, I would describe that that ghost shape of was it Beholder?
Mm-hmm.
I saw over the fort of Broken Claws.
Did Benson mention the meat wheels that were over the possessed people's heads?
Yeah,
The Halo things, I think so.
Okay. Do you mention that as well there in here?
Yeah, I'll give him all the information he needs if this is lining up.
Okay, so very quickly, he explains that the renegade is said to have the corpse or the essence of the Watcher's physical body before it moved from whatever plane it existed in to this space. He is said to have the power to pull from it, even though the patron, the creature that is bound to it, is unwilling. So it's not a typical warlock pact. It's basically the warlock has formed a pact with the patron, and the patron is not willing. But because the warlock has that physical form of the patron, the pact is manifest despite the patron's desires. Does that make sense?
So he's kind of like blackmailing him.
Yes. If you're familiar with horrible DC movies, it's kind of like Suicide Squad, where like this is a dumb analogy. The heart in a thing. Okay. Anyways, I'm done.
I never saw it.
Good. It's a bad movie.
It was a really bad movie.
Would that be the source of the poison?
The Beholder's body.
Body?
If Kristen Gervester brings that question up, basically, Alice will dismiss it out of hand. No, it is highly unlikely that's the case. Beholders are not known for poison or being poisonous.
I can't promise we allot time to check up on this Grizel character. However, it seems like a lot of good could be done if my comrades and I were to put a stop to this renegade.
Again, if you will not look into the matter with Grizel, I will find a means of acquiring the information I need. I simply understand your skill set and a couple of the individuals in your group's skill set, and believe that it would probably be best in your hands without causing any political problems or turmoil. I have other means, and I can.
I'll have an answer for you whether or not. I'll bring it up with him. I'll have an answer for you whether or not we take up the task before I leave the city.
Of course. I will know if you leave the city, so you do not have to inform me that you are leaving. That being said, I do appreciate you returning, and I hope that the gauntlets serve you, and I hope you're capable, or I hope your Latavius shines upon you in your efforts to find the renegade.
I offer out a handshake and I say, let's find out.
He gives you a sturdy enough handshake, a bit sturdier than you were expecting for, the older guy.
Expect it.
And he goes on about his way. You watch him very quickly kind of close his hands, and the two null fields kind of disappear. I don't think you've seen the spell Silence cast. I don't think anybody in this group has cast Silence.
My knowledge, no.
Yeah, but out of character, that's what he'd cast on the door and the not quite a door.
Okay.
All right.
Well, I'll wander back to the apartment slowly so that they have their chance to have their own moments.
That obviously took some time. So yeah, moving on. Grok, you're in the church. You of course have the city well out before you. Is there anything that you want to engage in? Anything you want to seek? You also have access to the libraries of the Great Church. You also have access to the Lore Masters halls, which are the wizards that are currently residing here in the capital. You can go and check out any of the ruins or sites of import. Plenty of other stuff. Anything you want to do?
No, I'm good. I'm good.
Okay. Jeremy, you saw some markings on the way in. You have an understanding of who rules the city here when it comes to the streets. Is there anything in particular you want to engage in?
Yeah, I'll disappear and go dark. See
Okay.
what's going on down there.
Anything of interest that you're looking for, or any one of interest you're looking for here?
I think I'm going to keep my focus on the elves. It sounded like that's what we were going to do. Get any more information we can in case somebody wants to crystal ball him again. Make it harder for him to resist it. And I can't remember if there's anything else I was actually doing. I didn't have any active quests with them, right?
Not in the city. Not yet, anyway.
Then I'll just see what they have going on.
Okay. Okay, I'll stumble back to you here in a bit. Benson, is there anything you want to engage in while you have some time in the city?
My thing was sending a message out to the magistrate to make sure they know about the school, make sure they have any issues with it or questions or what's going on, or if they had any advice.
You mean the lore keepers? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so just to make sure you know, the term Magier specifically refers to a magical magistrate under the conglomerate. The conglomerate is no longer in power. So Magiers are bad.
Okay.
All right, I know it's a term that we use a
Well,
lot.
whatever the magic
Yep.
users are.
Lore keepers. Okay, perfect. Noted. And Brent?
I just have like Brooklyn going around the church, exploring it and talking to people, see if he can find anything, maybe in the library.
Take a little
About,
time for prayer. Work on you.
Yeah, you know, go around. Maybe it'd be the lore masters I would go to instead. To because I don't, or no.
You can just hang out with Benson if you're wanting to look for knowledge. Like, he is definitely
The
going.
thing that I think Brooklyn would be most interested in would be talking about that, where the Hierophant was talking about how he realized the gods changed as well or whatever.
Mhm.
So, like,
The
Brooklyn
only-
would be trying to do something for that.
If you're asking around about that, a lot of people are confused by you and think you mad. So you're very well aware that you, just like Hallis, saw something that most people didn't see.
Gotcha. Okay.
Make sure you keep an eye out for any gifts from mom and dad. Just so you know.
So Hallis would probably be the only person you'd sink after kind of trying to kind of like, at first, brazenly kind of acquire information about it, and then once you realize it's like socially awkward to do that, and being socially like, you know, presentable with your charisma being so high, you understand that, you know, you kind of not supposed to do that. So you slowly try and ebb it out, and you realize that, yeah, it's pretty much just you and Hallis from what you can tell. And so you'll circle back around to Hallis when it comes time for that. So we'll go ahead and go back the other direction. Grok, you want to tag on along with anybody who'd had said anything there?
I'd want to hang out with Shambles.
Well, Shambles is currently, during this time, is currently invested with private talks.
Yeah, so I would sort of stay in the periphery waiting for him to finish.
So you would notice that the door you're stood behind has the spell Silence cast on it in the middle of the conversation, pretty much blocking all sound from coming out of that room. And then after that, Christopher Vester would come out. We'll go ahead and deal with that exchange. Master Vester, you come out and you find Grok waiting for you.
What's up, buddy?
So I hope you found out some good stuff. Can we trust that guy, really? I mean, he has the position that Calorith had, right?
Yeah, that's why I pity him. Calorith ruined his position.
You pity him. Okay. You have a good heart, my friend.
Would you want that job if Calorith had it before you?
I
Would you want Oru's job now?
Yeah, I would be suspicious of anyone who had that job. And I am.
Well, as I see it, he hasn't really asked for much. I've gained more out of the involvement than he has. And I intend to keep my distance from the church going forward. So
I
trusting
will.
him is not on the docket.
I will. I applaud your actions. I'll try to follow that path.
I got these new gloves.
Really? Well, we could. Why don't we spar? And you could teach me some of your cool moves.
You really do need to go through your stances again.
Well, I didn't say
We've
you're
been
gonna.
putting no. We're going out to the yard.
Take those gloves off first.
We'll see.
Okay.
Yeah, they do seem to be items that will require attunement. Again, you can't identify them, but you can kind of denote that the link isn't forming when you first just put on the gauntlets, if that makes sense.
I attune too.
Well, you'll want to identify them to see if they're even worth it. But yeah, moving from there to Jeremy, you dip into kind of the dark spaces and start moving around, trying to find out a bit more about who's what, what's where, what's going on in the city. And you find that this place is basically filled with an underground. From what you gather, lore-wise, and what you've heard, you know how Moodus is built on kind of like a tunnel space underneath, and there's kind of like an underground network, but it's a small Moodus-sized kind of network connected therein.
Yeah.
This city has that to the nth degree. You are told that there are 189 levels beneath the city level. And looking at the city where you stand, when you're kind of like thinking about that, you can see towers that rise up as high as 15 to 20 stories in front of you. Some even higher on the Munio side. So you understand that this city is like a layer cake built on top of many layer cakes. You also learn very quickly that the tunnels underneath are bound with these ancient markings and spaces. Some of them appear to have been broken, but most of them still stand. And being kind of magically minded, or more kind of religiously minded, you very quickly understand this is primal magic, very old ancient magic that's been put in place that bars anyone from seeing into these spaces from outside. You would know that scrying magic, detection magic, locate magic won't work in these spaces. You'd also know that,
Won't work to look into these spaces.
or while you're in them, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they can't see out of here either.
Yeah. You'd also know like casting certain divination magic or walking around in here with like certain artifice that makes you capable of seeing beyond like normal sight might be problematic. So it might be a situation where Benson may need to take the glasses off in here. Your night vision goggles are working fine, if you're still wearing them.
Yeah, I don't typically take them all.
There's a number of different safe houses present in the underground. Most of these are just small cells of people who are just kind of living, but they're receptive of you when you kind of enter and about. You do find that there are a couple of taverns nearby. One, interestingly enough, is right underneath the river, just near where the wall is broken. And you weren't here for last time. Real quick run through it. During the Grey War, which was like a long time ago, during the Third Era, an entity known as Nayland Balcard, who was a servant of the Meridian cults, came to the city, single-handedly killed armies, and then was stopped at the White Wall of the capital, see with an O, when a dwarf named Darwin Greysword wounded him. It was the first time he had been wounded in the entire fight, and then Nayland retreated. So not too far from Greysword Break, which is that hole in the wall that's been left there for millennia, and beneath the water, like underneath the river, is a small tavern, which is built underground, and it's called River Runners Stop, and it's basically built inside a cistern. And it has a number of different kind of levels that have been built out on wooden platforms and some stone platforms. And this is where it looks like a lot of kind of ne'er-do-wells kind of reside. Rogues, brigands, thieves, pirates, all kind of just meandering about in here in a very kind of raucous and energetic space. The music obviously much more lively than the current boring, dull music that's playing.
I have it turned off anyway. It's fine.
That's fine. Imagine lively, active music.
Bar music. Got it. Does the city's underground appear to be split the way the city proper is?
No, not so much. It seems like there isn't really a concern for the deviations of the districts beneath the city, from what you've been able to gather.
So Mardigan, or whichever family is this, seems to have equal pull over each of the parts.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. You misapprehended me when it came to upstairs. The Mardigans run everything. Every gang besides that you've been seeing literally has like a sub-marker on its notations that basically say, we pay our dues to the Mardigans. There are no gangs that are brazenly like against the Mardigans here.
Okay. Yeah. I'll just try to find like an actual Mardigan for real information.
Okay. You eventually find a fellow named Tybalt. And he says, a newcomer from outside, respectable. Before we get into talking and inquiring about the nature of the city, I do have a question about you. Not too many of us in our employ carry one of those. He says as he points at your rondel.
You can call me the Saint. Has word spread this far yet?
Can't say I've heard of the Saint. An interesting moniker, though.
Ground one. Starting from square one.
Oh, shit.
That's fine.
Now I want to stay in the city, gain a reputation.
Go ahead and tell them all your titles.
The best way to get the arrogant and proud to stay in a place is make sure that they know nothing about you. If you ask about the current goings-on of the city, mainly there really isn't much to it. The Mardigans mainly focus on robbing the merchant lords of Munio, the Grognards is what they call them, or the Old Guard of Liberis, and pretty much anyone of substance in the Ludosian district. They definitely have their cuts protection-wise on people who move in throughout the city. Most trade routes that come into the city are in some way, shape, or form the prospects of the Mardigans. The Mardigans have a number of different holdings underneath the city. And when I say holdings, I specifically mean like properties. Like this is an establishment. There are a number of establishments beyond this that operate underneath the city, outside of the scope of the church and outside of the scope of City Watch. They are allowed to flourish down here. Nothing ill toward. There's absolutely nothing like sinister here. They do have brothels, but again, you understand Mardigan understanding on the nature of that kind of process. It's not as sinister. It's more like the Bunny Ranch in Vegas kind of deal. Like it's very well regulated by the family. You have very little drug trafficking here. Most of their drug runs don't head north where they want them to go. And if you explain like your connection through to there, then they say, oh, I think I heard something about that. We did get a connection. It's just a long way around. Because the Black Sands to the north are kind of hard to traverse. And the Black Sands rest in between the area where the legions are and the capital. You'd also get an understanding that business in the city is booming. Like it's really, really strong. The reason why Mardigans are operating in pretty much every city from, Munio's, Shining Blue to like the far bottom, southlands of like the barrier lands between Varhuin and Osiria. Like the reason why the whole country is Mardiganed up is because of the abilities that are presented here in the capital. Anyone here can flourish, and it looks like everyone here is having a great time. but it also sounds like everyone knows their place and does their job, and keeps the wheel going. You do understand that the Mardigans are always looking for three in the city, are always looking for 3 types of work, which are the hardest types of work to fill. Job number 1 is exploratory work. They mentioned the 90 some odd layers, 100 some odd layers beneath the surface. Some of those places have been unable to be utilized as an asset due to denizens that reside within. So they are constantly trying to hire anyone anyone brave enough to go down there and find out what keeps these places barred from being utilized. Most of those sorties go unforgotten. Then there are, of course, jobs in dealing with gangs below and trying to induct. Most of the work that's present there is handled by the family proper, but someone of your renown, after they kind of get a bit more information regarding you, someone of your station, they believe could operate as a mediator for the Mardigan family. And last but not least, there have been a lot of jobs coming in from Tessa, which is the dwarven province to the southwest of Osiria, the nation. A lot of the dwarves there seem to be hiring Mardigan hitters, trying to kill political dissidents and also political rivals. It sounds like whatever's going on underneath the mountains of Angdanuk are pretty crazy, but you don't really have much information beyond that.
That's all staying within Tessa itself.
Yeah, whatever political shit is going on in there, it's them, but they're hiring outside hitters to come in and basically murder other dwarf nobles, dwarf leaders.
Got it. Yeah, Tessa's not on the menu yet.
Nope, first time it's been mentioned.
Okay.
I don't know. who
Do
that
they
is.
have any information about our elf?
They say that there were some reports on the King's Road up in Munio from some Mardigans in Bellum that said that a couple of their brigand folk were hit by them. They don't have much information beyond that, other than there's a cautionary that's been placed on the King's Road between Bellum and oh shit, what's the name of the other big city that way? Right on the tip of my brain.
Knock?
No, Knock is way over there.
I don't know any better.
On the other side of the Serpent's Trench, it is.
Like where the beef here is?
No, farther up and away. Ursulon.
Mortis.
Ursulon.
Damn it.
You have not gone on the northeast corner of your map yet. There's a whole big ass city over there called Ursulon. It's, if you remember at the very beginning, your guide character, played by Kevin, would take people through the Serpent's Trench to make sure that they could get to Ursulon from Mutis.
That does sound familiar.
Yeah.
Kevin had a job.
Kevin did have a job, and then he did not.
What's the city we're rebuilding? I can never remember the name of.
City
Looks
you
like the last one.
rebuild?
Purple light?
No.
No.
Banish.
Banish, yeah. I'll bring up Banish to them. Let them know it's being rebuilt. So if they're going to get it under it, they need to do it soon.
Okay. We'll see if we can't send some envoys out that way. We'll get this up to Pat. That should be fine. Okay. Do you have any other inquiries? There are obviously avenues for black marketing if you have any items you want to sell. If there's anything that you want to get, like unload, 75% of cost for you here. Depending on the item. If it's really rare and crazy, they might give you full cost or more.
I think I have everything stupid yet.
Okay. But yeah.
I've got the meat, but I got to deliver that. I've already.
Oh,
made
the
that
Kraken?
promise. Yeah.
Yeah, they're not going to want to buy that anyway. Not in its current state. It would definitely need some preparatory work done on it to be marketable in a city like this. Anything else?
I would just dump it in the canal.
Yeah, just hell, it's big enough. You could probably just fucking float around on it.
That'd be fun.
Oh, that'd have been perfect
Barge.
Leviathan bait.
Too bad you didn't go there.
Tracking barge.
Uh,
Yeah, let me see the black market. I want
Okay.
better stuff.
Are you looking for anything in particular?
Weapons that benefit me or other party members.
There aren't really so much weapons that are going to be beneficial, but they do have a number of poisons that are interesting.
You like
Like
poisons?
what? I don't.
Um,
I sold my poison.
oh,
I could taste them for you.
wyvern poison?
Well, do they know anything about the poison that's in Galagos now that I'm in the poison section?
If you're asking about that kind of stuff, they'll say that they don't think they have much regarding that. It could be a number of things. And if you remember, I gave you the name of a specific type of poison that it was most likely when you first looked at it. Do you remember the name of it?
I could look it up. We wrote it down somewhere. I actually think we made Andy write it down.
What did I write down?
The name of the poison that they stuck Galagos with.
Oh shit, let me
I
look.
think it was like wyvern something.
No, that's the word John just said.
You sure it's not wyvern poison?
I'm like 80% sure.
It was ancient and uncurable.
It's Megadeth.
So it is
Slayer.
Slipknot.
Ramaran's blood. Ramaran's blood, is that right, John?
Yes. Ramaran's blood, correct.
See, that's why
I'll
we have
type
Andy.
it.
That's good note taking.
I know.
When in doubt,
He's
call on Andy.
he's
Fuck, if
ba-
you're not giving him inspiration, I will. Andy
Right,
gets
for
inspiration
real.
from me.
All right. Guess Andy has inspiration, even though I
have
know
it.
I can see him playing.
Oh, did he have it already?
I'm not playing video games.
I see. Bourbon
I'm
type.
not.
You're a baddie. Anyway.
I'm here.
Andy, did you
I'm
have
gonna-
inspiration?
Yeah, so I'm gonna give it. Do you have inspiration?
I already had it.
Who doesn't have it?
Everybody's fucking got it.
I
Oh, you
don't
don't
have
have to
it.
give. You don't have to give it if you already had it. I was giving it to you from me, so don't give it away now.
I already have it.
Okay, cool.
Well then, Zach, you keep it.
I'm gonna keep it.
Ramaran's blood. Never heard of it.
No. They,
Legendary poison that cannot be healed.
they explain to you that Ramaran's blood is a terminology when it comes to poison. When someone is poisoned with something that no one can identify, it's basically it's similar to like a term widget, but in poison kind of methodology. If you don't know what it is and you can't fix it, it's Ramaran's blood. If it's like a poison that you're not sure about, you'd call it Ramaran's blood. You would know that, like, in a mythical sense, Ramaran's blood is a poison that is incurable and undetectable, and basically it's the most ancient of like dragon's blood poisons.
Wait, is it one poison or is it just a blanket name?
It has,
name.
if it ever was a real thing, then it has turned into a kind of blanket terminology.
So it's the Gem Witch of Poisons?
It is the Gemwitch of Poisons, correct.
Okay.
What's funny is I just, not too long ago, I actually summed up who Gemwitch was. There is an actual Gemwitch now. Like, there is a real one.
My wife made it.
Your wife made up the name, but the character who is Gemwitch is funnier than that.
It's whatever. It's funny that she made something that's in your game.
It's awesome.
Made it.
She made up the religion process, and I
He's
was like,
published.
it'll never have a person that's affiliated with until I'll explain later. Anyways,
Okay.
but yeah, wyvern poison. They have about 6 doses of that they're willing to sell out. Wyvern's poison has to be harvested, a very, very painstaking process from a dead or incapacitated wyvern. You apply the poison to a weapon, and then a creature who is dealt damage by the weapon has to make a DC 15 Constitution saving throw, or take 7d6 poison damage on a failed save for half as much on a successful one.
That is a lot.
Yeah, so is the cost. It's 2,000 gold pieces per dose.
Not really a poison.
Do the doses stack? Like, can you just like buy 10 doses and throw them all on there, and then they take 10 times that number?
No.
You're getting the 10 doses money.
It was
I
just
probably
an
got it.
example of like if they stacked or not. You know.
You're pretty confident that you could talk them down to 1,200 per dose, by the way, Ryan.
But I still don't want it. I'm not a poisoner.
All right.
Any other armaments or weapons laying around?
Mostly just poison. Yeah, everything is beneath you here.
You're at the old poison stall.
How do we get to the top? And it's got the worst shit.
So in a very large city, most of the good shit gets taken by the people who are in power, and most of the shit that's kind of left behind is what's more commonly seen in trade. So sadly, what you're seeing here is like the occasional +1 magic item or a vicious dagger or something like that, and a cloak of protection, elvish cloaks and boots, and people are like, ooh, this is really interesting, and you're like, not really, nerd. And so,
Do you know who I am?
have you ever fought a
I don't.
dragon? No, actually, I've never fought a dragon before.
You know how many named swords I've just thrown away?
More than you should have ever.
You purposefully delivered to be destroyed.
You guys just aren't cool. I'm a little disappointed in this.
He was supposed to shove it in the engine block of the train. So, anyway,
How are we supposed to know?
no.
We cut that train open.
Again.
Door's locked.
You can imagine things in your head going one way and then not going that way. It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah,
We
well,
saw,
you're
we
welcome.
saw Angel.
Every game I've ever DM'd.
I talked to a
Why
pig.
I'm here.
Your beholder problem is my problem now, Jody. Thanks, asshole. Fucking Jeremy.
All right, I'm done
Stumpplug.
with these people.
Okay. Moving on to Benson. You make your way to the Lore Keepers. It is a very massive library. It stands somewhere around 200 feet tall on the outside. Flying buttresses, massive kind of gargoyles, and beautiful just architecture to the building. Entering inside, it has very kind of rustic kind of coloration and charm to it. But it's books as far as the eye can see. This isn't the first time you've been here. The Lore Keepers have been around for more than a decade, so you've definitely seen this place before. And this is a repository of all information that was drawn out of the Tower of the Magier at its fall, and also the repository of all information that was unbound from the capital when the Magier was defeated in this place. A lot of lore, dating far back, all the way back to the War of Sword and Serpents ages, like when the people who lived here weren't civilized folk, in the sense that they didn't have cities. Then also the lore from the human cultures that migrated here. Spurkic people, Parnan people, etc. An individual walks over to you. Benson, Hand of Mudas, I presume.
Greetings. Yes.
Greetings. Your message was received. As I understand it, you are currently in the process of establishing a school in Mudis outside of the normal school processes of the capital. Is that accurate?
Just a new budding adventure that we're going on.
More than welcome, and I understand that you were conflicted with some matters regarding the dwarves of Bonrock, regarding the startup of your school due to treaties we had set in place after the demise of the conglomerates. That also accurate?
Yeah, they actually sent over an emissary.
As
to
you're
help us
talking,
out.
he kind of just smacks papers into your chest, like down into your chest. The licensing and all of the information you will need to dissuade them of their arguments. They have been predated to prior to your actual desires to process the school, so they should have no recourse politically to cause you issue. Apologies for my rudeness. I simply came down here as an envoy to give you these papers, and my pleasantries were nothing more than that, an attempt to be pleasant. I am actually on my way to another matter. Do you need any assistance here?
No, I don't believe so. Did you hear about the poisoned fellow over in the church?
Yes, I and the Hierophant have had discussions regarding the matter. Apologies. Like I said, I am quite busy and have matters to deal with. If you have any more inquiries regarding that matter, any number of my apprentices here will be able to assist you. I'm also under the understanding that you are looking for possible students. Anyone who is willing will take you up on your offers, I'm sure. If you have any other matters for me, I will be back later this evening, post dinner time. I am more than happy to receive you at that hour.
Just no, I believe that's fine. We'll go from there.
The mage steps away, and you kind of think for a second and are trying to kind of remember his name because you know him from somewhere. And then you kind of go, yeah, right. I remember. His first name is Lursiv, and his last name keeps escaping you. But you know his name is Lursiv.
Did I like him?
You remember that he was very ambitious. Take that as you will.
Okay.
It appears that he has risen to some notoriety because he's at least fancies himself somewhat of import. But yeah, he wanders off. Very shortly after he moves away, you see a person kind of wander over to you.
Was he the salutatorian of Chody's class?
He was.
And Chody was the valedictorian?
No, switch it.
So he was the highest and I was second?
Yeah.
Okay.
You're trash.
Nah.
We're named after him.
Is he out of sight yet?
Yeah. One of the attendants appears to be walking over in your direction.
Hello, may I help you?
Oh, no, actually, the opposite. May I help you? Master Wingard had expressed that you were to be given all courtesies while you reside here in the Lore Keeper's manor. And I, of course, am absolutely willing to assist you in finding any repository of information, any sort of documentation, recipes, anything that you might need to assist you. And from what I understand, Wingard himself had put out notice regarding your school, and several people have expressed interest in teaching there.
Oh, could I possibly get a list of those names?
Absolutely. I believe a couple of them are actually on campus today. If you wish to treat with them now.
We can quickly. Yes, it's we're in a bit of a hurry, but yeah.
Oh, of course. Hands you a list. It's about 20 people.
Wow. Okay.
And you see that there's notes in the margins, and you recognize the handwriting, and your brain kind of like, oh, right. Lursiv Wingard. You remember him being like the teacher's pet, like huge, just like dork, and someone who you remember actually like, helping, and also him helping you during your study here at the Lore Keeper's Academy. So you're kind of like, right. He wasn't like a huge personal friend of yours. It was more like just like someone from school that now that you're being reminded of school, you remember.
Okay.
It wasn't someone that made a huge dent in your life. But apparently he has risen to prominence here. If you ask concerning that, he explains to you that the Grand Lore Keeper of the Lore Keepers, Amans here, is Lursiv Wingard.
Okay, good for him. Honestly, I'd be happy for him.
Yeah.
Good for him.
And the list of 20, you're kind of going over it. None of the names seem to strike you as anyone you would know. And he explains to you that the two individuals that he knows for certain are present are the Yuan-Ti mage Akashin and the Osirian sorcerer who goes by the name Devolio.
Okay. I would I would say we can meet with them. Could I set something up to where they would come to the actual tower and meet with me there and the other teachers?
Yeah, if you prefer, I can go ahead and just engage these individuals, the entire list, if you prefer, to attain some means of transference to your location. He raises up the piece of paper. You see him kind of very quickly perform a ritual spell over it, actually using a spell slot, and hands you a copy of the page. And then he asks you to write your location's teleportation circle on his paper.
Absolutely will. Yep.
Once he has that in document, he says, I will make sure to attain right of transference for these individuals. You can, of course, communicate. He pulls out a greenstone and hands it to you with me directly, as I am currently acting as a voice and operative hand for Master Wingard. If you contact with me directly, I will make sure that he hears every word that you speak to me and makes a decision accordingly. But my current duty is to help you in any matter. Since it doesn't sound like you want to entertain any of these individuals an appointment, I assume that you have purpose here in the Lore Keeper's Manse for something other than finding students or teachers?
Yeah, we are wanting to get some information on a place called the Doom Vault.
It's not ringing any bells, but let's see if we can't get a couple of individuals who might be a little bit more savvy on vaults and Doom. The two of you start engaging in sagely practices.
Is he about to call us?
The only people? No. The two of you spend some time, the time that's kind of processed here, going through book work, basically pulling through books. A small group of scribes and attendants are basically at your service during this process, pulling books, setting them down on a table, learning as much as you can. And ultimately what you learn is that the Doom Vault is a conglomerate-made pocket dimension that was made during the very earliest portions of the Osirian Civil War, and it was said to have been lost. Its entranceway was multifaceted. It wasn't open to just one space. It was open to multiple different doorways.
Okay. Well, that's helpful. I would look into the fact of the doors being changed with locks and stuff and how we could possibly get back into those doors.
You actually go through the artificial documents from the conglomerate lore, and you actually start seeing some really interesting kind of documents here regarding your own Tower of the Hand back in Mudis, and seeing things that you know are present in that space. And basically what you find is that your door in that tower, the old space that you had back at home in Mudis, and other doors similarly, were basically keyed by the conglomerate to be able to be manipulated and changed to different spaces. So you walk into a door at one point and instead enter into a place somewhere else.
I want to study how to do that.
Yes, and I'm over the course of the evening, you will have mastered it, understanding that it'll take quite some time to create that keying. But you also learn that there are a number of examples of this keying. The most common usages of these key gates are in the city of a couple of these would be the ones in Munia, the ones that are kind of most prominently noticed or prominently focused on by you. The city of Bellum is said to have a number of key gates. There are said to be a number of key gates in the dwarvish city in the Mudis region, known as Bad Eye. There are a couple examples of key gates in Ursulon. Further out to the east, there are examples of key gates in the town of Siffort's Pass, key gates in Nock, and the most prominent example of the use of key gates still in function today is the city of Onamouth on the Broken Blade Coast. It's called Onamouth because it is literally just a vast number of these key gates or portals that are all throughout the city, and literally there's 40 different entrances into a single tavern in that space.
Okay. I want to kind of search those out, but I know I don't have a whole lot of time since the group's going to want to be getting ready to do something. So
Good.
I would. I just don't want to
send me
take
and
too.
call us.
Learn your stuff.
Looking at the examples that are present here, you know that if you get back to the house and you put your mind to focus on the Hound of Muda's tower, you can get the gate key system to be operative within 40 days.
40 days is a long time.
40 days
Okay.
is a long time, but yeah, this is not easy. Forming a teleportation circle in space takes a year. Like, this isn't easy magic.
Okay, that makes sense.
You're binding a space to another space.
Yeah. All right. Cool.
Okay. Cool. Anything else you want to learn in the Lore Keepers?
Not right now, but I definitely want to keep the walkie-talkie handy because that kid's going to be awesome.
Awesome. And yeah, that'll be a direct contact to Master Wingard's voice in hand, an individual who goes by the name of Aranos.
It's close.
Close is fine. As long as you say it right. That's all that matters. Okay, moving on from you. Brooklyn, you said you were hopping around church-wise, asking questions. Eventually you passed by Grok and Shambles to kind of revert back into chronologically, but actually fast-forwarding to this point in chronology because everyone was done their stuff during the conversation. You would be passing by Grok and Shambles as they finish their dialogue regarding Palace.
Okay. Once I pass by, I'm like, have you guys seen Hallis?
Yeah, I just talked to him.
Oh, sweet. I have some questions for him. Is he in this room, I guess?
He went back that way. I think he was busy, but I don't know.
Dang, okay.
I'm sorry. What's on your mind, champ?
Oh, it's about that thing earlier with the god thing, where it changed, and he's the only other person I know that knows about it openly. Does Riot? Riot would probably know too.
Yeah, it happened to me too.
Yeah, and also because I was thinking about it, and you remember when we were on that the train to Bellum when it all happened? That
Sure.
old guy I was talking to, I remember him saying something like he flashed out of himself for a little bit and like was basically a different person and said something about Three Kings being back. So I figure that's something I want to ask Hallis about as well.
Well, funny you mentioned that. We were asked to confirm whether or not the third king is who he says he is. I don't know if we have the time for it. I don't know if you guys are interested in that, but it's on the docket. If we're interested, we could probably find him today.
Doesn't matter to me. We
I'll
should
leave
go
up to
clear
the
that
rest of
Doom
you.
Vault
I still
soon,
want to
though.
get over to the Doom Vault.
Yeah, I'm down to clear out the Doom Vault and then come back to him since you said he seemed busy. So
I guess we would head back to the tavern on the other side of the city where Benson had rented us a room. Or wherever we had conveniently now agreed in the past.
Yeah, we have the room at my buddy's, the Red Dragon.
You also have the room here at the church if you want to maintain it. It's entirely up to you.
I will leave a note in that room for what was his name, Kellen?
Mhm.
I'll write up something for you
Okay.
post game.
Sounds good. Okay, Brooklyn, do you want to continue seeking out Hallis or no?
Chemmel said he seemed like he was busy, so
Okay.
It's not like pertinent to anything.
I don't
It
know
was more
what
like
his,
a
I don't
side
know what his
conversation,
job
so.
is fully, so maybe go bother him.
Nah, I'll let him.
Or just-
We'll be back.
I'm
here
sure
eventually anyway,
there's a
so.
page who can tell you when he's available.
Yeah, that's true. Well, I'm sure we'll be back here eventually. So, worst case scenario, I'll just
The
talk
idea
to him
is
when
we come back here tomorrow
Prefer, yeah,
if we can help it.
preferably.
But yeah, we'll hole up at the tavern. I'll leave a letter in Kellen's room for him.
And then you regroup with the rest at the tavern.
Yes.
Okay.
Before we do leave the church, can I leave a note with a
Let's,
page or something for Hallis?
okay. And
Just saying that whenever he gets a free chance before we leave the city, I would like to talk to him about the thing we discussed about the gods.
okay. And then back to the tavern.
Yep.
Okay. Once there, you regroup as a party, as per usual, sitting down at a
I'm
table.
gonna pass through the market on the way there.
Just the regular market.
Yeah, since
Apples.
the black one sucked.
Okay.
Uh,
Go ahead.
Anything notable that stands out, but also I'm gonna try to flip the 30-pound pearl.
Not special somehow.
It was a key, but it doesn't work anymore because they changed the locks.
We don't know if they're all broken. You do
No,
your
the
thing.
pearl was the thing that had that was inside the Kraken, I think, and it had the
It was
Lady
the
of the
water
Deeps
temple.
thing like carved into it.
It had some like religious context outside of the vault.
Did it?
I believe so.
Yeah, it had like I think it had the old one that the Lady of the Deep or whatever.
Just to reconfirm, it was a 30-pound pearl that had etched into it the symbol of the Lady of the Deep, which you identified as being such. A strange, barbed, serpent-like creature with a woman kind of coming out of a giant maw, and then drawn above it an eye.
I guess I don't know that story yet. Okay, then it sounds like I could hold on to it.
And if you want to sell it in the marketplace, that's fine.
No, those guys seem pretty keen on it.
Okay. It would be funnier for me is the main thing.
Yeah, we can't have that. I will
That's
scan
right.
the market though.
If you're just
Yeah,
doing a
cool.
random, you're not looking for anything in particular, you can go ahead and make a D100 roll. Otherwise,
Preferably weapon and armament that.
yeah, if you're not looking for something very specific, then
Okay.
it's D100 time.
Just one.
Yep.
90.
You said 90?
Yeah, 90.
Another wand of wonder.
Yeah. Unfortunately, not terribly much. You're able to find with the 90 a weapon, which they state when you are under duress or if something is trying to harm you, this small throwing hammer will glow blue. And you would note that that is a throwing hammer of warning.
Yeah, I'll take that.
Okay, 500.
Done.
It does require attunement.
Okay, rough.
Yeah, it's a weapon of warning. The type of weapon is a throwing hammer. Light hammer, I believe they're called.
Yeah, I'll head over to the bar.
Yeah. And just to spare time, if you do get it identified to confirm its exact nature, you will also note there's a minor trait on it. It has the returning property.
Okay, yeah, I'll just do that on my way to the bar then as a
Okay.
ritual.
Yep. So it is a light hammer of warning with the return.
Cool.
Okay. Then you get back to the tavern. Everybody regroups.
How did it go?
Town sucks.
I feel a little cooped up myself. So, I turned down the job. Hallis wanted me to mingle with the church again. I'm not quite ready for that. He did, however, ask a favor of us if we're able to. I didn't give him an answer. This Grezel character, Grizel, claiming to be the Azure Throne, the king. If we're able to get a sample of him or get the whole guy there, I don't know exactly. I'd rather not do it too rough in case he's who he says he is. I took a few notes from Hollis about where he might be for the rest of the next day and a half.
Anything public?
He will be traveling amongst some of the merchant houses tomorrow morning. I think this evening he's holed up in his apartments in the Azure Towers. John, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm
That's
paraphrasing.
accurate. That's accurate.
Do we know which apartment?
Yes. The Cloud Palace.
So having some
It's a
understanding,
tavern within the Azure Tower.
Cloud Palace is basically an inn and tavern that's on top of one of the 5 Azure Towers. The Azure Towers are a grouping of buildings, kind of luxury kind of estates, up in the Munio district, past the second wall.
How badly do we need to do this?
I don't fully understand the ins or outs, but he could be important. He might not be. I'm not saying we won't have another chance at this later.
We're here now. He's here now.
Brooklyn, Benson, Grok.
I'm done for whatever.
I mean, if
Yeah.
you think this is the moment to do it, that's fine. The Doom Vault's still gonna be there, and Galagos is in stasis, so.
Yeah, it's whether or not the elf stays in it. And I still
Yeah.
got, what, 4 days left on my dagger repair back in Bone Rock.
Mm-hmm.
At least 2, yeah.
This Hazil should be done by now, isn't it? I think it was 2 days.
Yeah, Hazil would be done tomorrow.
Hazil will be done tomorrow. And I got 4 or 5 days left on my horn before I can use it again. Because I use it right when we enter the Doom Vault.
It'll be 4 more days tomorrow.
4 more days tomorrow. Okay. I'll write that down somewhere.
So 3 more days for Lions.
3 more days for Lions, correct.
Ooh.
But yeah, if we need to do it, we can do it. I'd like to get this Kraken dropped off so we don't have to keep
Hauling it around.
revivifying or, keeping it fresh.
I don't know what to tell you about that. Benson,
quick-
you seem to
that's
know
a-
the city the best of
That's a
any
quick
of us.
stop in your sister's town.
Would have loved to do that yesterday.
Were you there?
I tried to go there. We went to Banser and then here.
We could always go back to Banter.
Isn't What's Her Face still waiting for you there?
Yeah. I wanted to go to Bellum several times.
Yeah.
Anyway,
All right,
Benson,
Let's grab
you know
a hair.
the
Let's
city.
go to Bellum.
Do you think
Is it-
Cloud Palace will be difficult for us to get to?
Get to? I don't believe so.
Get inside.
Get inside. How do I know that, John? That would be...
It's just a tavern. Like, it's just it's a highfalutin kind of place. So
Yeah, we should be able to get in. That's fine.
How you want to do it?
I mean, does he have guards? I assume that he travels with.
I'm so sure he does.
Let's go do recon. Let's grab a drink at the Cloud Palace.
Okay.
We've
Any
got
dis-
invisibility. We've got teleportation.
Any disguise queued up?
We can just turn invisible and teleport through the window, grab a hair off of his pillow, teleport out, and take it to the guy. I have that option.
I'm sure it's that easy.
Probably not, but it's an option.
Maybe he's got a brush in there. You can pull some.
I'm gonna go ahead and put on the hat of disguise. On the dude from the sword for a little while.
I'll attune to Misty Step and drop my Zadix heater.
Okay.
Sorry, the Wand of Wonder. I didn't have the Tick Peter on.
Could you tell me, Jeremy, is that hammer light hammer or what?
You said it was light, right?
Yeah.
So Grok could use it just as an FYI.
Yeah, have at it. It's just super handy to be on our person, even if you don't throw it, just to have it attuned.
So
So
if
we're
you,
not surprised ever.
if you're not familiar with it, it's while you have the weapon.
It.
Yeah. Okay. Great. And
It's a
then
chat.
returning just means anytime you throw it, it returns to you at the end of the turn.
Thor, got it.
So you can't do
It's a-
multiple attacks with it, but
Mhm.
yeah.
So I would unattune from the Scimitar of Speed and attune to that.
Okay. Cool. And then you are taking a Skyrail or gondola or something over toward the Azure Towers and then going in. It's going to cost you
Yeah,
another.
sure.
It's going to cost you another 2 silver per person to get there.
2 silver now? I thought it was 1 silver per person.
Oh, that's what I meant. Right, 1 silver per person.
Inflation is nuts.
Yeah, geez, somebody trying to mark it up, huh?
Every day it just goes up, and tomorrow it's 3 silver. Uh,
Get out of the city.
Anywho, you get to the Cloud Palace. So the Cloud Palace.
I'll be a nondescript Osirian just for the disguise portion.
Okay. The method of getting up the towers, you can take the stairs. There's also what are known as crystal steps, which you can take. And they function similarly to an escalator, except that they're magical and made out of glass. But they head up that way. And then, of course, there is a Skyrail that ascends the towers to the Cloud Palace. Whatever method you take, the Cloud Palace, once you get to the top of the tower is a flat open space with grass growing and flowers and kind of a really nice kind of landscaping around a building that is just built on the top of this massive tower. The building looks very old and very rustic, very charming, made of stone, columns, very old Osirian looking. And you can see that there's kind of an open space in the front of the area, which looks like kind of a just open seating kind of eatery. And then it looks like there's an entrance beyond that, beyond the serving booths that are kind of present near the doors that leads into the establishment proper. You can see that there's a number of people kind of present out and about, sitting, talking, chatting. It looks like a lot of the people that you saw of nobility and kind of merchant status, dress-wise, the two that were talking to him, a lot of people are very similarly dressed. Looks like these are kind of merchant lords or wannabe merchant lords, up-and-comers, etc. The well-to-do. You definitely know that looking at your group, Master Vester and Brya and Brooklyn, because Brooklyn usually has this feeling, that you all are out of place. The only person who doesn't stand out would be Benson, who is dressed in finery.
So
I'm
Grok
flying.
clearly
I'm
is in his element too, right?
Grok?
Yeah, you didn't say Grok, right?
Oh, sorry. Grok is turtle, so of course
So he's awesome.
everyone loves a turtle.
Everybody loves turtle.
He's in the turtle club. What is he, not turtly enough for you?
Look, there's nothing more formal
Master-
than
Wow,
armor.
that's
I'm
a
not
throwback.
I'm not mad.
That's a Master of Disguise reference, by the way.
That is a throwback,
It's
man.
Very fitting what with everyone trying to describe.
Be right
fuck.
back. Benson, clean us up.
I
Dude, I am
I
dressed in the
can
best attire I
disguise
can.
myself into finer clothes,
Yep.
but I'm also a celebrity. But I'm also a celebrity, so I don't want to be pointed out as the guy that stole hair off of him.
Yeah. There's a double whammy
So-
here. You could just be the celebrity and not try and steal anything, have your entourage do that for you, as you serve as distraction. You do not have to
About
be
that.
the operative person that does it. You could just be the celebrity.
Fuck. All right. I passed my hat over to Brooklyn.
Or do you just want to use the hat to make you look better because you aren't wearing good clothes?
Oh yeah, I'll look nicer.
Or we could let the dude try on the hat to see what it does, and then when his hair gets stuck in there,
What?
That
What?
is like the most elaborate.
I think
thing.
we're really being hopeful that a quantifiable amount of hair gets caught in the hat.
Wait for him to finish smoking a cigarette. Throw it aside. We're
Somebody
going,
give him a glass and then take it away after he takes a sip.
we're going full CSI on this, though.
No, I'll just transform my clothes to look a little sharper.
Okay.
I still look good to scrap, but I'm in some finery scrapping clothes.
Benson, do you want to uptick anybody's appearances besides your own? You already look
Uh,
great, by the way.
Polish
I-
all Rooklyn.
Yeah, I'll do Brooklyn, and
If you
can I
have-
do just one?
If you have the spell seeming, you could do everybody.
Seeming?
You
Seeming.
don't.
I don't.
Yeah, seeming is a really good spell for making.
Is it a cleric spell?
It is a wizard spell.
I don't have that.
Well, you should invest in it. But yeah, based on what I know of you, there's probably not much you can do to make them look any better than they are.
Already
Prestidigitation, make them
look
look
good.
shiny.
Well, clean their clothes. Yeah, that's fine. I'd say Brooklyn would probably be your best bet in that regard.
There we go then. Bam.
Raya is just going to look like Raya, and Grok is just going to look like Grok.
I'm going to throw my
What
identifying
else would he
markers
want to
away.
look like?
Okay. Rondel and everything.
Actually, yeah. If you can actually make me look worse, that might be better.
Oh, Jeremy, for your information, I'm going
Did-
the celebrity route, so I am just myself, just looking nicer.
Does he say that? Do you say that in character?
Yeah, if you can make me look worse, make me look worse. Because you can have celebrity status pulling attention. You can have me pulling attention of the guy getting kicked out of the bar because he's not supposed to be there.
Okay. I'm going to
The shiniest of you can just walk up behind him trying to hide and grab something off his person.
take
Oh,
out
excuse
some
me.
of my older tea leaves and just nastiness and rub it on him, and just anything I can dump
You're not
on him
gonna
to make him
magic
look
it?
gross. No, this is
You
labor.
get behind Grok. You start patting his shell. Come on now. Come on.
Yep. We're just gonna do it manually this time.
Turtle poo.
It's gross.
Hey man,
I'm gonna walk in separately first.
Yep.
Sure.
A
Go in
ways
first.
away from you guys.
I'll go in as the
Don't leave
beggar.
me
I'll be
hanging.
last. Benson, just try to get behind him and grab his arm like you're scared.
Well, first we gotta find him. Because
If he's even in there, because then you can pluck. If you act like you're scared, you can pluck an arm off or a hair off of his arm.
you kind of scan the environment in the courtyard, kind of exterior seating, and it doesn't look like anybody here is like has a retinue or like massive table. Most of it's just like 2 to 4 people kind of seating. Looks like
Bistro.
yeah, very bistro-y, very common kind of. It looks like there are a couple people who are here who might be on a date. There's a couple people here who are kind of like having a small like impromptu meeting. Looks like stuff like that. Nothing crazy like this person is the king of one of the 3 kingdoms. But when you enter inside, it's kind of a different atmosphere. You immediately are kind of blasted with the smell of fresh bread. You have this very kind of ornamental music kind of coming from inside. You recognize it as being harp. You look around and can see that the people inside are a bit more hoity-toity than even the ones that w're outside.
It's like we walked into a Fazoli's. We get it.
It's like you walked into a Zola's, right? Everyone's got bread at their table, all you can eat.
It's fast. It's fresh. It's Italian.
It's
Very high end.
very high end stuff we're talking about here. And
So confusing.
you would note that
I hope we talk about Fazoli's so much more often.
it looks like there is a long table which has about 15 individuals kind of seated around it. Some people that you're looking at here definitely look like they're out of place, like very much not well-to-do. One person appears to be wearing kind of pelts and kind of like like vagrant garments. And then there do look like there are others who are kind of throughout the stations of finery present. At the head of the table is a guy who has a face that is absolutely punchable. So far to say, most of the kings that you've met are of a similar kind of cast.
Roderick was a good kid.
Roderick was a good kid.
Johnny's
He's all
Johnny's
right.
on the fence.
Yeah, well, in more ways than you know. Anyways, back to the commentary regarding this
Okay.
guy. Face like you just want to punch him. His hair has a very strange kind of bluish tint to it.
Must be a galley ghost.
He has kind of like a mustache and like pointed beard. It too has a bluish color to it. He's wearing bright kind of, for lack of a better kind of definition, kind of like a Spanish yellow, kind of like I'm trying to think of good visual that I can indicate. Like guitar yellow, like like the guitar color, like in between
Wood?
in between orange and yellow, not exactly yellow. I
Like a
have
goldenrod. Let's call it goldenrod.
let's call it a goldenrod, yeah, but
Sure.
brighter in the yellow. He's wearing that color kind of tunic, and you can see that like draped around his shoulders is a bright blue, vibrant blue scarf. And he seems to be very happy. People are talking to him. It seems like he's paying attention to them, but it looks like he's mainly focused on eating. And that's what you see when you enter in. And Master Vester, how would you like to proceed? A couple people are kind of giving you looks. One person eventually does muster up the courage and walk up to you and says, You're the champion of the grand tournament a year or two ago, weren't you?
Oh, yeah. Hi, sorry.
Christinger Vester. This is Christinger Vester, he says.
I'm Christinger Vester.
Someone nearby. Yeah, I saw that last fight of yours a year ago with Kenji Hattori. It was insane.
Hitori, yeah. I'm looking for that rematch. Stay tuned. Maybe a month or so.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
I wasn't gonna go because I heard
Keep it down. Keep
Listen-
it down. It's a secret, but
Thank you.
you know it's gonna happen.
They would seem to have been like they just paid their ticket and were headed out. They leave. But yeah, again, some people seem to notice you. Most of them don't work up the courage to come talk to you.
I'll just sort of like smile at folks if they're like looking at me, and I'll just sort of walk up to the bar
Okay.
and just
Inside,
sort of lean there and wait for service. I don't want to be too intrusive.
Inside's bar is very small.
Okay.
It doesn't look like most of the seating for outside is kind of reserved for what would be considered bar space in a normal restaurant. And when you kind of step up to the bar, the bartender, the drink maker, kind of looks to you and says, do you have a table inside?"
Oh no, I'm sorry. Was I supposed to get a table?
Yeah, fortunately, seating is specifically external right now for anyone who's not a party to the Munio table. Sorry, most folks who've been coming in are, you're more than. If you don't mind standing for a second, if you have a drink you have in mind, I could go ahead and make it for you, and you can take it outside. But I do have to ask you to make your way back out to the common seating.
Oh, well, that's disappointing.
Yeah, he
I
kind of
heard word there were some important people I could rub elbows with here, but
Well, he gestures over to the table. He bought out the entire restaurant. So,
kudos, mister.
do you yell that over to the table?
Yeah.
You see him kind of look up at you and kind of acknowledge you, kind of give you one of these, and then you see him go, and then kind of like whisper to somebody nearby, and that person starts walking over to the bar. Stops in front of you and says, "Chris Gervester,
One and only.
the future king of Munio, Grazel, wishes to invite you to his table."
They've picked one. There's a Grizel again.
No. It's simply the title that our master has been going by.
Oh.
Of course he will be king. He says, kind of sarcastically, and says, "Please accompany me." And as he's walking over that way, you see one of the guys who looks like just a merchant lord kind of talking. You see Grazel kind of make a gesture to the guy with the pelts, and this individual stands up to a height of about 7'6". Kind of looms over a person nearby, the person who is a merchant lord who everyone's kind of looking at with like a very noticeable kind of disinterest and distaste. And this guy just gets picked up by the scruff by the guy in the pelts and taken outside. And
It's like, well, careful with them. Those looked expensive.
as you approach, Grazel kind of gestures towards the seat that's been freed up. And he says, a real warrior, a person of interest, Christinger Vester. You are very, very important person for our kingdom. Please sit.
I wouldn't go that far.
You are a former member of the parliament. You were a representative of the great city of Bellum in the Moodus region.
Yeah, I was a chieftain of the Dark Flame Works. I was propagator
You
of
brought
Atavius.
together a number of the mercenary companies and
Oh,
tribes
go
in the
on.
region. You defeated one of the greatest villains of historical notice. You served the great church honorably throughout your life, and, well, you are a representative, what every Minosian should strive to be. He gestures to everyone kind of around him.
You're embarrassing me. Forgive
well-
me. I have not been introduced to you, sir. I'm told you're a Grizzle. Grizel.
Yes, they've been calling me that.
Tell me what the correct name is. I'm going to keep saying it wrong. Is it Grizel?
Grezel, yeah.
It is Grizzle.
Yeah. He says, in sooth, it is not actually my name. It is simply the title that I wish to go by. In truth, my name is Lygon.
Lygon.
Yes,
Well,
Lygon.
To tell a private secret, I've been going by Shambles for some time now, so...
There have been reports that have reached my ears regarding the matter. Yes, I heard that you were briefly transformed into a scarecrow, and you fought alongside a great wizard, a giantkin named Ben Man?
Yes, Ben Man. He's a huge man.
Ben Man the Hand?
The Fist.
The Fist?
Ben Man the Fist. You would... I couldn't get both my arms around him.
The guy who kind of came over to you and talked to you kind of whispers down to Grezel, and he goes, sorry, apologies. Benson is a halfling. I don't know how I got those mixed up. Looks to his attendant like he's so mad at him. And the guy kind of steers away. But yeah, he basically just continues back and forth with you for a while with these pleasantries. While the ripping happens, party outside, shoving turtle poop on people, and making shiny armors. Once you're all kind of decked out, what's the plan of attack?
I'm waiting.
Okay.
We know what this guy looks like, right?
You do not.
That would be job number one, is finding out what he looks like, who he is.
I'll just, I guess.
If you're mind
what's-
link it, you can tell us once you're in there.
Yeah, I am going to do the Rory's telepathic bond.
Out of character, just a retcon. If you wanted to bond beforehand,
Would have been the smart thing, especially since I was going solo on the first
Well,
one.
what's the reach on the bond?
infinite. Once it's been
Once
cast,
after it's cast, yeah.
Yeah. What's the casting distance though?
30 feet. And it's very noticeable.
Just say we did it on the
Okay.
train.
Like while you're doing it, or when it's
Yeah.
happening, or
While
when it's on?
While you're doing it, not while it's on.
Okay. Well, bummer.
Yeah, if you were to just walk in there and start casting a spell with, verbal, somatic, and material components.
I don't use verbal somatics. I use hand jive.
As you take, that's fine. As you start smashing pieces of eggshell together, people are gonna be like,
I'm making an omelet.
"We only allow
Just walks in their West Side Story.
with the eggshells." No, but yeah, the point of the matter.
Put it on the
is-
rest of it is fine.
Yeah, if you no, I'm
You just
willing,
have to overhear the name.
I'm okay with you retconning it to the point where Shambles is included.
I can
I'm
point you
okay.
right to the guy, tell you how to get here.
Yeah, and if he does, you now have an idea of what he looks like from verbal description through the
Blue-haired
bond.
fella sitting right next to me.
Literally right there.
Are there any spellcasters in the room?
I kind of scan the place, sort of like scratching my head, looking around. Nothing
2 rolls.
that
Go
appears to be.
ahead and make an investigation roll, and then make a deception roll.
Oh, I'm real good at these. I'm real good at both of these. 2 on the investigation
That's
and deception.
They're all spellcasters.
16.
No one seems to notice you staring at people or stopping in the middle of a conversation as you're being talked at or talking to someone, as
Yeah.
you're not paying attention to them and trying to answer the question for the bond. Okay, so back outside, they're all wizards, and
Then step 2. Benson, it's your turn to enter the room and actually do some work. He's busy, but he's doing a good job keeping the other guy busy. So, scope it out.
I'll go see what I can see. Yeah.
As you kind of approach the door,
I'm
person,
gonna go with you, Benson.
I mean, if we can get him in there, yeah, we can try.
Distraction, that way if Ryan can sneak in later.
And I'm gonna
Man, I'm
order
pretty
myself
shiny.
and Grezel a couple of double whiskeys.
okay, yeah, accepted. Grok, are you going with Brooklyn and Benson?
Sure.
Okay. The three of you stride up towards the door. As you approach, you see a person in one of the sidebars kind of walk over to intercept you and stops and goes, "I'm sorry, excuse me. It's invite only inside. The restaurant in its entirety on the interior has been bought out by a very important person staying at our with us. If you'd like, I can set you up a table outside, and we can get you anything. Free drink as a point of appreciation for you." Fine folks.
Well, I guess it's just a sense of urgency. I would bring out the list of all the people who want to be teachers and say, "Do you know if anyone on this list happens to be inside? I was supposed to speak with them urgently about a matter of teaching."
That's really cunning. I like that. Gain inspiration for it, and then roll me a D100.
See how many out of 100 people in there on this.
77.
I apologize.
That was
None of the attendants here are present. I do
Oh,
know that a
damn.
couple of them frequent here, but none of them are currently here.
That's a really good try.
It was a really good try. If you'd gotten 20 or less, I would have gone off the list and found the one that it
Nice.
was.
Bummer.
Put it on there. So
I don't see Benson trying to get into the room, do I?
no, it's outside.
That's fine, and that's also good information because everyone on that list is a spellcaster.
Yeah.
None
Well,
of
that's
them are in
what
the room.
that's what he said when he was full of wizards all in the room. That's why I was like, well, let's try this.
It was an insanely good idea. I'm sad I couldn't reward it because
Oh well.
Benson, you should really recruit for your school.
That's what I'm
knee-deep
doing.
in wizard
I
training.
am trying to find some wizards. I hear these are the best wizards in the city, and I really feel that it's a place that I need to be.
the 7'6"
Crossfire.
beast of a human sits back down. Man, he's probably a badass wizard.
I would actually show him the seal and the letters from the head lore guy and say he said that I could speak to some wizards, and I hear these are some of the best.
He kind of nods his head and says, I do apologize. I understand. And again, I'm not trying to... The properties currently being rented in its entirety on the interior by the very important person, as I had mentioned. It is our duty to make sure no one lingers about inside. They just want to, engage in their evening.
Totally understand, and I get it, and I'm sorry to have bothered you. I just hope that we can come to an understanding. I would reach out to shake his hand.
Okay.
Take the free drink.
I will. I'm trying to slip him 100 gold pieces in the shake of hand.
Okay.
Flip 100 gold
Hey,
coins.
yo.
So
It's magic. I'm a hand. I can do weird things with my
You
hand.
got
It's-
little baby hands.
it's
though.
probably 10 platinum, and it's probably in a small bag.
That'll work.
Go ahead and make a persuasion roll.
18.
He kind of takes the bag. You see him very quickly kind of tuck it into his thing after kind of jingling it and kind of doing a quick open peek and look and drop it in. It says, if you want to step inside, the drinks are served directly from the bar. Unfortunately, you would have to go in and make yourself scarce, looking to Brooklyn and Grok. But I'm sure if you're just standing there at the bar for a very short time, they would be able to serve you your drink. And he's looking directly down at you, kind of trying to explain to you exactly what he's saying. And you get the
Those
vibe.
two can't come.
Those two
we're
can't come
outside.
in. You can go in and stand for a second, and then you can
This
leave.
is what you can get away
Yep.
with.
I'll tell
This
him.
is what 100 gold will buy you.
I'll get you guys some drinks. Why don't you go ahead and hang out here? I'll go get the drinks for us and be right back out.
Rock is
really
gonna look at
fast.
Rooklyn.
Thank you so
Oil
much
of
for understanding.
slipperiness?
It just goes in, hits the table, flips it over, kills the guy. It's like it just turns into a fucking Mario Bros. Scene in there, man.
I don't have any more of that anyway.
Bouncing off
Rats.
the walls.
We got 5 minutes. What's the plan?
Master Vester, the
Alright.
double whiskeys are served to you, and the bottle is set out in between you two, and you see Gressel kind of smile, look to it, and kind of say, it's a fine Trandoshan whiskey. Hopefully it's suitable says Gressel. And he kind of lifts up the glass. His is on the rocks. I don't know if yours is served in the same.
Yeah, I'll take rocks.
And he takes a sip and kind of grins, setting it down neatly. Benson, as you kind of step in, you kind of look over to Master Vester, and you kind of start eyeing around him, looking for the guy with blue hair, and you don't see anybody with blue hair. Sitting directly next to him on his left, or rather on his right, is an individual who looks like a merchant lord, kind of wearing blue garb, but his hair is very black, and it's kind of pulled up and tied into a braid that's kind of pulled up this way and then dropped down his back, which you know is very clearly the style of folk on the very northern coast of Munio. They are fishers, and they also kind of pride themselves in their amazing hairlines and very long, beautiful hair. And then the guy to his left, to Master Vester's left, appears to be very shy, from what you can tell. He is wrapped in scarves and ribbons and cloth, so much so that you can't actually see like any skin, flesh, or anything whatsoever. He's holding in his hand a glass of whiskey, kind of placing it to the scarf, and it appears to be leaving the glass, but not really doing anything around the scarves. The hand that's holding it is completely made out of bronze, ornately patterned with stylistic kind of runic markings and clawed fingertips. The only thing that you can see that doesn't appear to be fabric in those hands is a single ruby eye that sits inside of kind of a black pocket where an eye would be. And that is where we'll end the session for today. We'll pick up next week, right about there, and move on with the crazy shenanigans at Cloud Palace. And thanks for watching those that did.
When do you think we're going to run into Lando?
I'm changing the deal. All right, later.